Hello, um, I'm Terry Bale, and I'm gonna read to you something. And I found a place in the woods, like other times, and this is a different place. Almost every time is different. Here, let me show you what I'm looking at. There, it's green on that side, but a lot of yellow leaves down, and straight up, leaves are turning yellow. There's the sun. Okay, but here's what I need to read to you. It's called Writing About Joy. A Letter to Our Son in the States by Terry Bale, written July 11th through August 1st, 2012, while we were living in Romania. Okay, I'm going to try read that to you, but first I have to find a place to sit down. There does seem to be a rock there and a rock over there kind of, and one here. So I'm gonna, sorry for just dragging you along with me. Maybe I better pause it. Last time I introduced this thing and I hit the off button. So I'm starting again. So here we go. I'm gonna pause it and try to get sat over there. Okay. Hey, that works. It's still on over there. And that's a kind of a road. That's where I was standing, and on down the way, and okay, I'll turn it around. See you behind me, this way and that. And more importantly, I better get to reading. Better put my glasses down, and I hope I remember them before we leave. Okay. Writing About Joy. A letter to our son in the States. Dedication to God. He wants us to have joy. He does. See the smiley face? Smiley face. I'm glad for smiley faces. Then here goes. Hi, honey. Hugs. Miss you. Then in parentheses I put hug. Let's rest a bit. Smile. Let's see now. Oh yeah. Let's see, what do I look like on this? Put it out there. Maybe I can rest it on my knee like I did last time. Let's see now. Oh yeah. When Dad talked to you last, long distance on the telephone from Romania to, was he in college? No, he'd be in the Navy by this time. He was a grown-up. Let's see. Oh, I have down here our 29-year-old son in the States. He was 29 then, and it's been a lot since then. Let's see. When Dad talked to you last, he later told us the news and stuff. Well, along the way, one thing caught in my mind, 'cause it was interesting. Or else God just made it stand out. Anyways, as Dad reported it, you'd said how the youth in churches were longing to find joy, while the grown-ups in the churches, especially Romanian churches, because he went to a Romanian church when he went down to college near Chicago. Being a big city, they have various ethnic groups too, and nationality groups and stuff. So he went to a Romanian church. So, but Romanians are well known for being very serious and yet joyful too. So at any rate, while the grown-ups in the churches seem to think that seriousness is all that matters, neglecting or even squelching joyful things. I see what you mean, and it does seem to get to be that way. So I got to thinking, you know, given the scene you described, I can imagine kids would come to the conclusion that what they are lacking is joy, and simply, logically, go looking for what they lack. The problem is, we are all so used to buying ready-made food, or implements, or services to fill our needs that we are likely to overlook or not realize that joy is one of those weird things, like respiration, sweat, and reputation, that nobody can do for you. You either produce it yourself or you don't have it. Yet, produce it yourself is a drastic oversimplification, to put it mildly. Then I put in double parentheses, a quick prayer. Dear Father, you know what I'm talking about, but I hardly do, 'cause I'm still learning. Please help me say something useful here. In Jesus' name, I pray. So, I keep going with the letter. Well, just yesterday evening, as I was walking home from church, I was thinking about the subject of joy when I saw some little kids having fun with a toy. I haven't read this letter in a long time. The sentence goes on. When I saw some little kids having fun with a toy as they walked along with their parents. Well now, that's joy, and it's entirely simple and closely related to a store-bought thing. What does it have in common with the unbuyable stuff I've been thinking of? Especially that they both are called joy. Then I realized, and I gotta change hands. I wonder if there's an easier way to do this. I've lost my, stand, and that was hard to position anyway in the forest, but I so like the forest. It's neat. Okay, I better keep going. What does it have in common with the unbuyable stuff I've been thinking of? Especially that they both are called joy. First, I better position this right. It wobbles. But you know what reality's like. And yet I'm holding it out so far that, is there nothing to set it on? Well, I might end up being the main feature there, if it comes in close. Which I'd rather you have the woods to look at. It'd be nice. We'll see what we can do, okay? Then I realized a child rejoices or joys to discover, to learn, and to experience, because that's exactly what level they are on. They are supposed to be learning, discovering, developing their minds and lives through experiences. And wise parents will be careful to supply them with good, healthy things to see and do, mildly and peacefully, so they have time and air to produce and digest the event. But as we humans age, our joy shelf develops new levels, all by itself. That equals God made us that way. To eventually, the pages are loose. Maybe that wasn't so smart. I maybe should have stapled them, but that's where they are right now. And I have to use what time I've got to get this done. So I'll keep going. God made us that way, to eventually become fully like Him, if we will, sons of God. So, our joy shelf goes through stages: to be held, to be fed, to be made comfortable, to learn, to discover, to produce sound, song, art, ideas, and give them to people, to perceive a common goal and work with others to achieve it, to achieve something in spite of obstacles, to achieve something in spite of opposition, to bear a load despite discomfort, to continue in a cause despite heat, cold, pain, filth, threats of damage, when it's worth it, to hold steady, though all your survival instincts sound alarm, and they are right. It's amazing what levels our joy shelf has as we grow into His image and likeness, to be like our Father in heaven, to be like Jesus, to have a welcome among the throng of others who know the value of deeper joys because they were willing. Willing to what? Willing to perceive a task worth undertaking, and willing to be the one to undertake it, at God's direction and with His help. Like somebody once said, In vain do they talk of happiness, who never subdued an impulse in obedience to a principle. He who never sacrificed a present to a future good, or a personal to a general one, can speak of happiness only as the blind do of color, or the deaf of harmony. But it's still lonesome as all get out if you don't know the tough touch of your Father's hand and the warmth of His love as He accompanies you through the thick of it. And it is a joy at any age when the Lord provides some delightful thing or some essential thing, especially unexpectedly, after a long absence of such a thing. I'm going to move it to this part now. But to find joy among a company of people, you must, of necessity, find people who are doing things that bring joy. I'll trade hands now. The difficult things. You must, of necessity, find people who are doing things that bring joy. The difficult things. The inside-out things. Like finding ways to love strangers and enemies and family and needy folks, etc., beyond the call of actually finding ways to love them because Jesus urged us to, not just because it's philosophically interesting. Philosophically interesting will work for a while, but it lacks the spiritual oomph of the love and support of God to enable a person to get to and through the deeper levels of joy, where eternity links up with life on earth. Just as, for instance, Josh and Jen sent us a really nifty, newfangled, collapsible umbrella for Christmas with other neat stuff. But on the way home from church, they're walking home from church, Hannah and Esther were accosted by a lady who was definitely out of it and wanted them to give her something. And she was a street person and used to begging, even if she was delirious. Well, the girls didn't think of something before she latched on to their umbrella, the nifty one. It was raining, and she held on tight. Well, the girls thought quick and felt it wasn't right to let her steal it. That would be encouraging a bad thing. Yet they remembered Jesus' words saying, "Give to every man that asketh of thee, and of him that taketh away thy goods, ask them not again." That's in the book of Luke, chapter 6, verse 30. So Esther told her, "Listen, we want to give it to you, but you have to let go of it first, because we don't want you to steal it." So she let go. So the girls gave it to her and walked on home. So somebody could debate the ethics and wisdom of the matter. Let them debate, especially if they learn something. But let us all be willing, who follow Jesus, to give up something in order to obey Him. Because He wants us to find joy, the joy of giving and loving. Our girls have joy in serving where God has us. They company with other young people at church who do the same, and some who are still learning. We're all still learning. Joy equals blossoms and fruit on the thorny stems of responsibility. But for a child, it's the juice that others won for them and pour into their cup. At the bottom of the page I wrote, "They that sow in tears shall reap in joy." That is the 6th verse of Psalm 126. And then also another, "Rejoice evermore." Is that all it says? See, and that's 1 Thessalonians 5, verses 16 through 24. They're all good. So I encourage someone to read that thing. So there, honey. I rounded it out like a regular testimony for a general audience, but it's real. The kids remember and appreciate the fruit juice. The grown-ups remember and appreciate the thorns. But it's living life with the Lord and according to His principles, His word, that brings it all together and makes for joy. like years ago at college. When you got up one Sunday morning, he called us and we heard about this. The first year in college he was. When you got up one Sunday morning and drove to find a church, because, if I got this right, it was mandated that you new students find a church. It was a Bible college. So find a church, guys. So you bestirred yourself and got in your car. But hearing a regular or irregular thumping noise coming from your right front tire, you had a concern there and a caution, and no doubt prayed. Then, as you neared your exit, the tire blew. So you eased down the exit ramp and into the gas station close by, filled the tire with air, and, praying to the Lord to help you make it, you drove out hoping to arrive at the church parking lot before it went flat. You did. I'll put this back out. You did. So you parked and got out and jacked up the right front tire and went into church. You made friends that day, no doubt, and had joy because you'd done your part before God and others, and God gave you grace. Grace. So sweet and good for you. Hug you, honey. Joy is attainable with God. So we needn't rue it to find that Legos and Happy Meals and even worship teams no longer cut it. You gotta find people. You gotta change the page. You gotta find people who are working with God on the various levels, and joy will spring up from inside you. You know, I'd love to leave it like this. It's tidy this way. But some things have... no. I think it would be best to save them for another day. But this subject has really helped to put some other things into perspective for me. And here I went to take a nap. But even more things came up. I put that in brackets in the middle of the page. I came back to writing. You know, it's not just doing the tough thing that makes for joy, but understanding how the pieces fit together. Seeing the connection, the balance, the harmony, the irony even. But you've got to learn to how to look for it. I wonder if I taught you guys that. 'Cause I see now that I do that kinda automatically. I don't know when it started, but I know the Lord set me up to learn it. It's His stuff. Weird, otherly stuff. Like, greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friend. Why should he have to? And why didn't God just let Jesus die by a swift sword stroke? Dying is dying, right? But then, at the judgment, somebody could argue, but Lord, that guy shouldn't be forgiven. He tortured me. You don't know how bad it was. He does know. He does have the right to judge us, every last one of us. And the lady who went with her husband and kids to the jungle and served for years, yet no converts. Then she died. And then they came, wanting to hear about their God. Mind you, we just reduced years of toil and straining to hope into 2 or 3 sentences. This family, they worked hard to care for these people, to show them the love of God and tell them about Jesus and about God. And we reduced it just down to they were there for years, and yet no one came to believe in the God they came to tell them about. That had to be tough. And then the mom of the family died. And then they came, wanting to know about their God. Why now? The family asked. We saw that your religion was good for living, but we didn't know if it was good for dying. But we see your peace. We know it's real. Look at that quick scenario. I've got no fancy analysis, but without seeing served for years, died, they came, all in one place, the picture is absurd. Why struggle for nothing? These people don't care. Give up already. But you and I know that there is a little book. Mine is little anyway. I've got a little Bible. That is a book of secrets that has diagrammed quite a number of events in history and how they turned out. Direct quotes from God Almighty and His Son are to be found in there. In fact, the whole thing was written according to His will, while letting the human writers give their tones and perspectives too. Those folks, the missionaries, they'd read the book. They knew the secrets, the commands, and what to hope for. They also, no doubt, were used to praying and seeing God work, used to working with Him, used to His voice and His hand on their shoulder. That's why they had peace, for living and for dying. They saw the connection. It's getting dark now, though, at this end of history. The joy machines that pump juice into your cup are so many and so brightly lit. They splash your brain with color, with music, with stories, with adventures and advertisements, with information and possibilities, till it's hard to see reality through the dazzle. But it's all early level stuff. Stuff done for you. Not really satisfying. It was just the other day, as I was taking a break and doing an overview of things, that it crossed my mind that, that's funny. It's all the worst decisions we made that made our lives so special. We got rid of our TV. We got rid of our TV, the chief joy machine, so to speak. Like, why? It's illogical. It brings you such joy. Well, a certain kind of joy. Out the window, or sliding glass door, actually. So I'm telling Ben about this stuff, but he knows how things went. Mind you, he was 4 when that happened. And I wrote about it. Hey, I can stop and tell you, I wrote about it and I called it Anything, God, Anything. I explained how God got hold of us. Ooh, there's a sunshine coming through right above me. Or it looks like it's right above my head. That's pretty. Neato. I didn't know it would do that. Good place. It'll probably go behind one of those trees in a little bit, as it's afternoon and it's going down. I think I'll just let it do it. Because mostly it's listening anyway. And sometimes, I might block it. But I like to hope. Boy, it'd be nice if you could see things like that. And make me smaller. My hand's a little shaky. But thing is I said, it's all the worst decisions we made that made our lives so special. We got rid of our TV, the chief joy machine. Like, why? It's illogical. It brings you such joy. That's all quotes. I think I've got a mosquito. I probably did. It's on my finger. Sorry. I forget I'm holding your vision, your view of things, your window. So we got rid of the good paying job, which took Daddy away too much. It was a good job. Decent and glad to do a good job working on computers, but we needed him home, and we wanted to use our lives to help people. Boy, that sunshine goes on one side or the other of that tree. I don't know. So we did leave the good paying job. We quit, and he went on to teach, actually. And then we went to the mission field, to Romania, to help. It's just another country. It's not just a mission field, but every place. They say, have you heard the saying? If you follow God and obey the Lord, you're either a missionary or you're a mission field. Either you need God or you should be giving God, helping people find God. That's a neat way of looking at it. So every place is a mission field. I just ended up saying it that way because I've heard it said that way through the years. Okay, let's see now. We got rid of the nice house. It was a nice house. We were working on it, but we wanted to go for the Lord. Because it was, got rid of the nice house attached to an enormous mortgage. We took 5 kids and Lyme disease, I had Lyme, to Romania and stayed there 5 years, though it was rough. It's just a new country, everything's new. And I had the Lyme disease and it wears you out. It was rough. At the same time, it was wonderful. And it was just right. It was all worth it. It was wonderful. Okay. So, it's good I can comment, I guess. Yep, that mosquito must have bit my knuckle because I'm itching that knuckle and that's why I'm wobbling. Gotta ignore the itching. Let's see. Oh, and I put up there, I put an asterisk about the TV. It brings you such joy, but it's too much secondhand living and has a lot of bad stuff too. Okay. Many such worse decisions, they paved our path. Not in order, and we only did it for good reasons, mind you. And I'm writing this to Ben, and he knows what we went through. Microwave out, we wouldn't be responsible enough. I mean, we needed to learn responsibility to cook things regular instead of waiting last minute to heat up something in seconds. So we decided, and it might not be good for a person, didn't know for sure one way or another. So microwave out. But that helped because when we went to Romania, we didn't miss it because we didn't have it. Radio off. Here I am talking a lot. But you see, the radio, I'd turn on the Christian station, but then beep boop, beep beep beep, UPI radio news, and they would give you the day's news in 2 sentences, and it was something horrific on the other side of the globe. And as much as I would like to care, and it helps to know some things, at the same time when I had Lyme disease, had to keep up with the kids, and I would hear deep, 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 and I would run for the radio and turn it off. And so I realized we better just keep it off. I need to deal with reality. So cartoon characters out. They mean well. Somebody means well, and I don't mean to complain a lot, but honestly, reality is better. So anyway, cartoon characters, we put them out, and stuffed toys even, because the kids, if you're giving them something to love, but it doesn't love you back, and it doesn't benefit from your love, you need to take them to the old folks home, take them to the hospital. How do you say that nowadays? Not where you get checked out, but where people have to stay in between. If a relative's there, if you can even go, if you don't know anybody, just hello. But go visiting family, go visiting friends, go visiting somebody. That's where the kids learn to love. So anyway, I better keep going. And we went and lived in a decrepit house near bars. Smells old, floods. But it was affordable and peaceful, and it has a yard and room for us. So there was good things, even though it would not fit in, the fancy magazines for fancy living. No, but it was good for us. We could deal with it, Make friends. Well, this list keeps going, a whole page of it, but it's big words. So let's see if I can show you. See, big words. So while it keeps going for a page, it's not all that many. Where's next? Make friends with an odd family who traveled nonstop for 25 years. They became our dearest friends. Oh wow, the sunshine came out. Major. Nice. Should I dim it or make it? Look at that. If I tip the phone so it hides behind the trees, that's what does it. Okay, I'll let it hide for now. But let's see. See how pretty it is. And the forest floor. And what else? Anything else behind me? And all those leaves are turning. And it does seem that maybe it's being quiet. I hear me so much, I hope you do too. Instead of just the wind, but the wind is pretty. Okay, here we go. But I know on the phone it goes shh. It doesn't sound as much like leaves rattling, which is what it is up there. Straight up even. Hey, how about straight up? Let you look straight up. That's straight up. All over. Okay. So of these worst decisions, in other words, we stopped making fancy decisions. Trying to look better, and it's good to look good. It's good to look better. But at any rate, here goes some more. We made friends with those people who traveled for 25 years. But we had traveled too, so we understood each other. They became our dearest friends. Fast food restaurants? No. Expensive and not the best food for you, and not responsible for, come on, get up a proper meal. So fast food restaurants, no. Pop, no. Candy, no, by and large. We still did it sometimes, but for the most part, we realized it's not best, Water, milk, juice, okay. Public school, no, we didn't do that. It would be easier. It would be up and coming and all sorts of good. But the kind of good we needed was calm, peaceful, family, old-fashioned reality, I got my hand up here, but you don't see it. And so, of course, it was what filled in the gaps. What gaps, I write. These things we said no to are usurpers, stand-ins. Without these things, we simply lived at a more realistic pace and paid attention to God and reality, to people and each other, to learning and teaching healthy, useful things, like Reveille. I wrote about these things. We instituted Reveille in our family. I wrote about it someplace else. I'll try to get that read to you sometime. Okay, guys, how about let's take this. What was it first? Was a bell, I think, first. And then after that, was it not a horn, but a whistle? And you'd hear that and know it's time to wake up. And so that's Reveille. And then the big four. And that I explain a little lower down on the page. The big four equals get up, get dressed, straighten your bed, and eat breakfast. The big four. And threech. we invented the word threech, meaning it's three check the chore chart. So first Reveille, then the big four, then threech, check the chore chart. Then date, and time, we'd have a meeting. Okay, and to begin with, I was the leader until Ben was old enough in his teens, and he'd lead the group. And okay, guys, good morning. Okay, we check the chore chart and have a prayer. Indeed, first, no doubt. I didn't write it down, but date, and time. Date, and time. Someone would offer what day and date and time. Then we also learned this concept, block the wheels. And that means when you're on a hill and you need to rest, don't just give up because it's too tiring. You slow down, you stop, and you block the wheels. Whatever you're doing, help it hold steady there till you get your wind again, and you get up and keep going. And sometimes that's long term. Sometimes that's a big project over days that you get bogged down, but you block the wheels. And then when you can, with God's help, figure out the next step and you keep going. Then also a concept, keep the peace. You need that. We all need to keep the peace. Then also there was the deal reasonably with reality. Don't want to be goofy, not just want, but it's wonderful, it's beneficial, it's fine to Where's that sunshine? But deal reasonably with reality. It's a good one. Where is it? Next concept was be good company, or your big brother won't want to take you places. And I won't make him. We still have lectures on that, by the way. I wrote to Ben. But he remembers that because I remember when our third oldest, that's about the time when I started explaining, because he had older brother and sister, and hey, can I go with you? Can I go? And they said, no. And that's when I started explaining. That's where you need to learn to be good company wherever you are. And then people will want you to go with them. They'll want to take you places. So that's a good concept. Okay. And, okay, I go on to something else. And about 5 days ago, I told some rowdy young people, 16, 13 years old, 11 or so, visitors of ours, a secret. Oh, I should explain. We just met them a week before and got to visit on a few afternoons. But when Samuel, on this afternoon, when Samuel got out his knife and David got out his, you know, the pocket knives with the carving on this in there. When Samuel got out his knife and David got out his, now Samuel at this point is about 14, I think, and David would be about 11. And David got out his. These boys lighted up. Well, they all lighted up and did predictable contemporary boy stuff with them. Yeah, boy stuff with them. Mock threatening, scoffing, shoving each other. I stood by, seeing they had no training in this stuff, and our kids could use some instruction too, but I don't think fast. So we let the event work through to the next item of interest. But on the next afternoon available, when they were wanting our kids to come visit them to their home in Austria, see, we were all in Romania at the time, and I'm telling Ben about this because he was grown and gone now at 23 years old, and we were with our younger kids, well, with the rest of our kids, 6 of our kids, because 3 of them were already grown up and on their own, bless them, doing good stuff. But I'm writing this from Romania, so just telling about this because these kids had come to visit this part of the country. They had relatives and friends here, but they lived in Austria, and so they were saying, "Oh, come visit us in Austria." When they wanted our kids to come visit them when they were wanting our kids to come visit them to their home in Austria, I leveled with them. Hey guys, they echoed, because I suppose I said it in English. Hi băieți. Maybe. They like me. Really. Praise God. Hey guys, let me tell you something. They knew a little bit of English, so maybe I could get that far with English. But then I went on in Romanian. Here, I'll do it in Romanian first. Vreau pentru voi să fiți cu copiii mei exact cât mult că sunteți blânzi. That was my best shot at saying this. I want for you guys to be with my kids exactly how much you are mild, self-controlled. So I did it again, and they helped me find the right words. But I didn't stop there. I had their attention, so I went on. To say, remember the other day with the knives? They looked a little sheepish. They remembered. So I continued. Listen, guys, I've raised big boys. I hold my hands up to demonstrate your heights. That's our oldest and third oldest, our 2 first boys. And we had 3 boys at the end of our 9 kids. But I hold up my hands to demonstrate your heights with an impressed smile. We had talks about stuff, about how to behave. and how you can't go being against each other. You need to build trust and credibility so you can work together and achieve great things. I went on. The boys listened, and now one lives in Hawaii, has lived in Hawaii for almost 3 years. Hawaii? Said the one boy. Oh, Hawaii, said the one boy. Hawaii, the insula, that means the island, said the other. Oh, hey, does he know how to surf? Yeah, and skydive. And the other is an EMT and a translator at Romanian churches. That's Ben, who I'm writing this letter to. So I helped them realize they need to work together. Okay, I better keep going. Guys, when they were little, we had talks about how we've got to work together and help each other. And I went on to tell this story. Quote, one time I asked my kids if they could touch the ceiling. And of course, none of them could. Try it together, I told them. And I went out of the room. In 2 or 3 minutes, they called me back to see. They'd built a human tower and touched that ceiling. Build trust between you and you can go far, but not without the trust. If my kids didn't, they thought, well, someone might trick me and drop me, they're not going to want to climb up on your knee. And it took at least 3 of them, with others pushing the others, holding them steady, to get up and they touched the ceiling. It was neat. They worked together. Build trust between you and you can go far, but not without the trust. Because you see the knives, when they were pretending to, and it was just pretending, I know, but it was a good time to help them anchor this lesson. Maybe they'd already learned it, but to anchor it and to broaden it, maybe this would help them with other examples of the same thing, of what to learn there. Okay. Ain't that something, honey? Your light shines in distant places to this day. That's our son. He was he's the oldest kid when they built the tower to touch the ceiling. So there's the hand. So ain't that something, honey? Your light shines in distant places to this day. God's light in you, that is. For what have we got that we haven't received? Even wisdom. You 4 or 5 touched that ceiling, and you 2 went on to touch Hawaii. And those that stayed on terra firma, or terra larga, as the case may be. Terra firma means stayed on the ground. Or terra larga, as in the large United States instead of the small island of Hawaii. You share the glory equally with the rest. Unless some put forth a greater effort. God knows. See 1 Samuel chapter 30. There's a good story there. I can't remember which one it is, but it's a good one, no doubt. But see how it's putting the pieces together that helps so much? I don't want to be the only thing you look at. Bless you. I hope each one of you, I hope you can learn some good things, or simply strengthen some things you've already learned. Because life teaches you lessons all over the place. Lessons are all over. Grass grows up. Everything grows up. Go up instead of down. And life and not death. And health and not sickness when you can manage it. And working together instead of anger and fear and mistrust. And boy, if you got to mistrust somebody, get out of there. Find someone you can trust and build a relationship, a quiet. And if that one doesn't work, find another. There are a lot of people out there. And if you're all by yourself, I can tell you, talk to God. I was 5 years old. My parents had troubles, got divorced. My mom could be very angry at me, at anything, at anybody. Uh, at any rate, it was rough. She wasn't physically violent, but verbally she'd rip you to shreds. And the rest of my family were doing what they could, but they were all just trying to figure out, and I felt very alone. And I've spoken of this about God being like my father, but I felt very alone. I was too shy to reach out, didn't know how, couldn't. But I'd heard about God, and so I started talking to him. And he comforted me. He helped me know he is there. And more I came to know, yep, he's there. And so I'll leave it at that. But if you don't have someone to buddy up with God. He knows, especially he knows if you're needy. He can see your guts, your insides, your brains, your heart. And he knows if you need kindness, you need someone to trust. He is to be trusted. If you think he's a jerk and you hate him, he's probably proud of you if you hate him for being a jerk, because he's not a jerk. He's not that. He's tough. He can be tough. But he is right tough. And as soon as anybody wants to do rightly, he helps them. He's on their side. He made us. We're his kiddos, his creation. At any rate, I probably better keep going. Yeah. Okay. But see how it's putting the pieces together that helps so much to have joy when you see what God's doing and how he fits things together and works things out. Glory to God. In 2 or 3 minutes, the Lord used your stories to plant an idea in those kids' minds that may sprout into a great undertaking someday. And with the Lord's help, a great accomplishment. Of course, that doesn't make things easy. It only makes them possible. But that's enormous. And for them to learn to work together more, that's a blessing for all. And you, hon, you got to be the anchor man. Like in the tug of war. They speak of an anchor man in the tug of war. You got to be the anchor man, like in tug of war, in both cases, the sealing and Hawaii. You see, Ben, no, well, you've already heard his name, and I mostly have avoided using our kids' names because they're their own lives, they're their own selves, and I don't want to impose on them, you know. But our oldest son and our third oldest is our second son. Our daughter came in between there. Well, the oldest and third oldest, the third oldest needed to go to school, and they went together, and Ben got a job to pay for room and board and help him with his education. So he strengthened him because the third oldest learned stuff that could be useful in Hawaii. Should I say it? Oh, look I got fuzz. I do. Lots of fuzz. Oh boy. So anyway, don't think that I'm worried about it. It's mostly, if it weren't bright sunshine, you wouldn't see it, because it's not all that much. And I don't take it off, but now and then I take off the obvious ones, but if there's a few. Sorry. So he was the one who helped the kids, lifted them up to touch the ceiling, and he was the one who helped his brother go to Hawaii to work there. That was where he wanted to get a job, in Pennsylvania where he was, or Ohio, or someplace, but the only place really available or best was Hawaii. So okay, he ended up there. That's neat. And, oh boy, I put it. And also, when your job paid the bills while the clock shop was on its feet, got on its feet. You see, my husband has a clock shop, and the fuzz does look pretty funny. If I can turn clear around like this. Now, there's a view that's pretty wild. Okay, I guess that won't work. So I better come back around here. There, that's better. Should I say this stuff? 50. Ah, how many pages have I got to go? 50 minutes. Oh, way long. I'll just... You see, I'm talking to my son. And at 17, 18, we were homeschooling, but he had learned tons. He was doing fine. And he got a job. And that job, though it was basic, maybe even minimum wage, but just basic, but it helped pay the bills while Timothy got his business running. And, I mean, you have to wait for customers to find out you're there in a small town. And little by little they did. And then it began to pay for itself after a couple of years, but our son's efforts, his job, paid the way. And what a blessing. So, and you never complained. And in parentheses I put, one deep wow. End parentheses. Our daughter set out breakfast for you. I put her name, but I'm trying to keep them quiet, hey? So your sister set out breakfast for you and made your lunches with her homemade bread. And when in the afternoon the piano suddenly went off, suddenly the piano would, this is what I call it, it went off, it'd start up. We knew you'd gotten home because he got, right then, right about that time in his life, he started to dabble on the piano and more, and learned, taught himself to play by ear. And on your first morning headed for work, you were down at the bottom of the stairs. I think I told him this, but I'm telling him again. I think I told him this when it happened years earlier. You were down at the bottom of the stairs, waiting for your ride, so early in the morning, when God played a recording of your voice in my ear, because I woke up with the door shut. But I woke up hearing, Mom, Mom, and it was Ben's voice. Mom, Mom. And so, which woke me up enough to remember that it was your first day of work. So I got up and went down, because down the stairs is where he'd have to wait on the porch. So I got up and went down, and we prayed together. But God played the recording, not me. I'd been sound asleep. So good of God to help us so. He loves you, honey, especially as you've been willing, like on page 7, willing to do something tough to get a good accomplishment, get something done that needs done. And our daughter just told me, and your sister just told me how the ceiling seemed impossible at first. But then you thought up how to do it. You see, I paused writing this. Our daughter, second oldest, is with us in Romania as I'm sitting to write this. And she must have come in the door in the room when I was writing. And I told her what I was writing about and how Ben had gotten the kids together to make the tower to reach the ceiling, just for the fun of it, and because I asked them to. Sweet. But your sister just told me how the ceiling seemed impossible at first, but then you thought up how to do it and directed the maneuver to success with all 5 of you. Bless you. So that's neat. The Lord let her come in just right when I was writing this. Which reminds me of your encouragement skills, which light shone brightly years later when I first met our dear Christian lady at a distance. She lived about 2 hours south of us. But he had gone to live with their family for a few weeks because they were doing some construction work and he could help with it. Okay, shone brightly years later when I first met our dear friend, after you had lived with their family for some weeks or months, when I called her up and said, "So, how's things going and how's he doing?" As she said, "Oh, I just love having him around. He's so encouraging." And she went on to describe it. I wrote about that recently, or kind of. Anyway, I wrote about that, and I think I recently tried to video it. I hope so. If not, I shall try. Cause there was an adventure we had just inside the house one evening. I encouraged Ben to go around and encourage the other kids, all the other kids, and I'd go behind and listen to what he said, write down what I could, and make check marks for all his encouragements. And he did. And oh, and bless the kids, they just got busy as all get out. It was neat. And he's been apparently an encourager ever since. But that was evidence of it right there. And I'll go on with the letter. And it's not just you boys, because honor to whom honor is due. I just put honor to whom honor. That's a Bible verse, that you're supposed to give honor to whom honor is due. We never could have done so much with so much peace, or made that first trip to California a ceiling and a half, if our third and fourth daughters, I named them there, hadn't learned to work together to bring the household under control, and later pack us up for the trip too. And our fourth daughter went on to look after us to this day, moves to new countries and all. She enjoys it, while adding language and music and loving folks all along the way. And Josh, and our third son, third child, second son, had his hands full working long and hard with a straight A student for a dad, and therefore high standards to meet, because he worked when dad started the clock shop, because he learned how to fix clocks and watches. And then after a couple years helping out as an assistant, he went on to start his own clock shop. And that man, he went on to retire. He had retired, but he went on to quit the business. But Timothy and our Josh worked right alongside him. But dad is a straight A student, so high standards to meet. And then by making good at the school he went to. And then there's our daughter, the middle girl between the two highest boys. In her thoughtful, bookish, wind beneath our wings, supportive role, especially for me, bless her, she's also added a nurse's assistant sort of expertise as well. She's getting good at stuff. And our third child, 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth child, third girl, second girl, in helping daddy, especially at the clock shop, with a song in the background, her attention to details, witnessing to customers, and snow shoveling. She liked to shovel snow, bless her. There's tons of it here. She's also learned to drive over here in Romania. And she's only like 23 at the time. And between this van and these roads and that traffic, that's quite a feat and a real comfort to daddy. So I'm telling how they've grown. Which brings us to the three little boys. So I'm naming these guys. Though Samuel is taller than dad by just a smidgen, who, by all appearances, are following in the family tradition, and that is, call upon God, read his word. In brackets I put, Samuel just read Judges, Ruth, and 1st and 2nd Samuel in the past 4 days in his reading through. You should see his smile. He enjoys it. Then also, so call upon God, read his word, deal reasonably with reality, and be good company. And beyond that, find something constructive to learn and to build. And I put ... and then I put in brackets. They are working together, those three, right now, on replacing Samuel's 10-speed bike gear shifter. Right this minute, 4 feet away from me, as I write this letter. Their room was a quiet place for me to write, so I was in here writing when they came in, bike and all, and set to work. Quiet and diligent. It was 20 minutes later that I realized that my work and their work were complementary. A kind of harmonics in work, perhaps. Neato, in any case. Thanks, God. Thanks, God. 'Cause God is there. And 'cause that's what he wants of all of us. Sons who follow his lead. But you know, it's seeing the pieces over time and all together that really helps. Which is partly why I took the time to describe the fuller picture. And I didn't do it justice, 'cause there's just so much more. Like how our third daughter worked around the house for years. I about want to tell you all their names, 'cause they've done wonderfully. And she was the first one to dig into house cleaning, and what a help to the whole family. She'd get discouraged and say, yeah, but it didn't work. I said, but honey, look at how far you got. And besides, you learned stuff. You're doing great. So I tried to support with encouragement. She did wonderfully. And has, and still does. So anyway, she worked around the house for years, all on her own hook. Nobody made her. Starting at 8 or 9 years old. I was in bed so much then with the Lyme disease. And I felt at such a loss to help. But I'd be praying and trying to find a way to encourage her, and you all. And when people would compliment the house or the food, etc., I'd always point to the ones who did the doing. And so often it was her. And regularly the rest of you pitched in wonderfully. And always God was there to bless us. It's so neat to see how he brings things and people together. But then there are times when, like now, in my life, for instance, where you just have to hold steady and keep doing what needs to be done. I could even move it over here and then it wouldn't be the shocking... But it was fun. I liked it. Maybe I should leave it. The other arm might help a little because I'm holding it straight out. Can I show you? There's my arm. It looks awful weird. But if I do it this way. See, there's my hand. And up here then. But then there are times when, like now, in my life, ooh, it's 1 hour and 3 minutes. And I've been told that 1 hour is kind of lots already. So maybe I better, let's see. Okay. I'll find a where to stop real quick. Real quick. I tell you, these 2 years have been the roughest 15 years of my life. Yet so precious to see the rest of the family just growing and flourishing in serving the Lord. So I'm not the anchor man. Dad is that. And he does it wonderfully. Especially in a country with such obstacles and hazards and responsibilities. Funny thing is, Dad will face hours of nasty roads and traffic with nerves of steel. But his stomach ties in knots when he suspects that they might ask him to give a 5-minute admonishment to prayer. Or ask the family to sing. He's still an A student at heart, and all the way through. Bless him, Lord, and keep him safe, especially in his work with the street people. When we were over there in Romania, he worked with street people. I better let this go at 5 minutes after 1 hour, okay? Thank you. So there's a few more pages. There's about 4 more pages to read. I guess I'll have to do that later. Thank you. Thank you. Should I? Oh, I hate to. I wish someone could teach me how to cut it in half. Read faster. Guys, if you don't ever find the rest of this, you got important good stuff. I got it written and you got to hear it. I'd rather love you here at the end and be done so that someone will see about an hour, okay, I'll try it. Instead of an hour and 20, oh, I don't have time. So I better do it that way. I have no idea who will ever see this, but love you. If you are seeing this, you're seeing this. Thank you. Talk to God about it. He can help you figure it out. Thank you. Bye-bye. Where do I push it?